The doorbell rings. Your dog races to the entrance, tail moving with excitement. Your guest steps inside, reaches out with a friendly smile, expecting a warm greeting. But instead of looking at their face, your dog lowers its nose and begins sniffing their shoes, their legs, their hands, even the air around them. Only after this careful inspection does the happy greeting truly begin. Most people laugh and assume their dog is simply being curious. Others apologize, thinking their pet has poor manners. But what if that brief moment of sniffing isn't awkward at all? What if it's one of the most sophisticated social assessments happening in your home? According to decades of research into canine behavior and sensory biology, your dog isn't delaying the greeting. In its own mind, the sniffing is the greeting. And hidden inside those few seconds is a remarkable combination of psychology, neuroscience, evolution, and communication that humans can barely imagine. Once you understand what your dog is actually doing, you'll never watch that familiar routine the same way again. The common explanation seems simple enough. Dogs sniff because they have a good sense of smell. While that's certainly true, it barely scratches the surface. Imagine meeting someone for the first time and learning not only their name, but where they've been all day, whether they own other pets, what they recently ate, how stressed they feel, and even subtle clues about their health. That's much closer to what your dog experiences. If sniffing were only about curiosity, dogs would investigate objects and strangers with equal interest. Yet experienced dog owners notice something different. Their dog may ignore an expensive piece of furniture, but spend several seconds carefully examining one particular visitor. Why? Because the information they're searching for isn't visual, it's social. That realization opens an entirely different mystery. What exactly are dogs reading through scent that we cannot? Behavioral scientists who study canine social cognition have found that smell plays a central role in how dogs understand relationships. Unlike humans, who rely heavily on vision and spoken language, dogs build much of their social world through scent. Every person carries a constantly changing chemical signature created by skin cells, sweat, hormones, bacteria, diet, and the environment. To a dog, these invisible chemical cues create something like a living biography. Research into attachment between dogs and humans shows that dogs develop emotional expectations about familiar individuals partly through scent recognition. That's why many dogs instantly relax when they detect the smell of their owner, even before seeing them. When a guest enters your home, your dog isn't simply asking, "Who are you?" It's asking, "How do you fit into my world? Are you familiar? Are you calm? Have you been around other animals? Should I trust this interaction?" The sniff becomes an emotional investigation, helping your dog predict how this new social encounter might unfold. What looks like hesitation is actually emotional intelligence expressed through biology. Yet psychology alone cannot explain how dogs gather so much information so quickly. The answer lies inside one of the most extraordinary sensory systems in the animal kingdom. A human nose contains roughly 6 million scent receptors. Many dogs possess more than 200 million. While breeds developed specifically for scent work may have over 300 million. Even more impressive is the amount of brain devoted to processing smell. The regions responsible for interpreting odors are proportionally far larger than ours, allowing dogs to distinguish incredibly subtle chemical differences. Then there's an additional biological tool humans largely lack, the vomeronasal organ, sometimes called Jacobson's organ. This specialized structure helps detect certain chemical signals involved in social and reproductive communication. While scientists continue studying exactly how domestic dogs use it, evidence suggests it contributes to interpreting biologically meaningful scents. As your guest walks through the door, countless odor molecules drift through the air. Your dog's brain instantly organizes this invisible cloud into meaningful categories. Elevated stress hormones can subtly alter body odor. Contact with another dog leaves lingering chemical traces. Even emotional states may influence the scent profile produced by the body. To your dog, greeting someone isn't just seeing a face. It's reading a chemical conversation that humans never notice. But these astonishing abilities didn't appear by accident. Long before dogs slept on couches or waited by front doors, their wolf ancestors depended on scent to survive. In the wild, identifying friend from stranger quickly could mean the difference between cooperation and deadly conflict. Wolves recognize pack members through complex scent signatures, allowing them to coordinate hunting, protect territory, and care for offspring. As wolves gradually evolved alongside humans over thousands of years, natural selection favored individuals that became exceptionally skilled at interpreting human cues. Domestication didn't erase their ancient sensory abilities. Instead, it redirected them toward understanding us. Genetic studies show that dogs evolve changes affecting social behavior, making them unusually responsive to human communication compared with wolves. Yet, while they learn to follow our pointing gestures and facial expressions, they never abandon their oldest language, scent. Every time your dog carefully sniffs a visitor before wagging enthusiastically, you're witnessing an ancient survival system adapted to modern family life. The instinct that once evaluated strangers near a campsite now quietly operates in your hallway. Here's where the science becomes even more surprising. Researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that dogs are remarkably good at reading human facial expressions and body language. They can distinguish happy faces from angry ones and often respond differently depending on a person's emotional expression. So if dogs already understand visual signals so well, why bother sniffing first? Wouldn't simply looking at your guest provide enough information? At first glance, these findings seem contradictory, but they actually reveal something fascinating about canine perception. Visual information tells dogs what someone appears to be feeling in that moment. Scent provides deeper context that vision cannot capture. Think of it like reading both the cover and the full story. A smiling face might signal friendliness, but scent can reveal nervousness hidden beneath the smile, recent interactions with unfamiliar animals, or chemical changes associated with excitement. Dogs don't choose between smell and sight. They combine both into a richer understanding than either sense could provide alone. Recent research continues to uncover just how emotionally connected dogs are to human scent. Studies in canine neuroscience using brain imaging have shown that familiar human odors activate reward-related areas of the dog's brain. In some experiments, the scent of an owner produced stronger neural responses than the scent of unfamiliar people, or even some food-related stimuli. Other research has explored how dogs can detect physiological changes linked to medical conditions, stress, and emotional shifts, suggesting that their noses are tuned not only to identity, but also to changes occurring inside the body. Scientists are still investigating exactly how dogs separate these incredibly complex odor mixtures, but one conclusion grows stronger every year. Dogs aren't merely smelling us, they're continuously updating their understanding of us. Every interaction adds another layer to an invisible chemical memory stored inside an extraordinary brain. For dog owners, this changes how we should interpret those few seconds at the front door. Allowing your dog a calm opportunity to sniff a guest is often healthier than forcing an immediate interaction. The sniffing helps your dog gather information, reducing uncertainty before deciding how to respond. If a normally social dog suddenly avoids sniffing visitors altogether, becomes unusually fixated on one person's scent, or seems anxious during greetings that were once routine, it may reflect changes worth paying attention to. Sometimes it's simple stress, aging, reduced sense of smell, or environmental changes. In other cases, veterinary behaviorists recommend investigating medical or behavioral causes if greeting patterns change dramatically. The goal isn't to become worried about every sniff, it's to recognize that these moments carry meaning. By respecting your dog's natural information gathering process, we make social situations more comfortable for both dogs and people. So the next time the doorbell rings and your dog pauses before greeting your guest, you'll know something remarkable is happening. That lowered nose isn't bad manners. It isn't unnecessary curiosity. It's the product of millions of years of evolution, an incredibly sophisticated nervous system, and a form of communication that operates almost entirely beyond human perception. Your dog is introducing itself in the language it understands best. It is quietly asking questions, gathering evidence, measuring emotional safety, and building the foundation for trust. In just a few seconds, an invisible conversation unfolds, one carried not by words, but by scent. And perhaps that's one of the most beautiful reminders of all. The animals who share our homes experience the world in ways that are both profoundly different from ours and astonishingly intelligent. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden science behind everyday dog behavior, be sure to subscribe for more psychology-based canine documentaries. And tell us in the comments, does your dog carefully sniff every visitor before saying hello? Or do they react differently depending on who's at the door? In our next video, we'll explore another mystery that surprises even experienced dog owners, why some dogs stare at you while they're eating, and what that silent behavior reveals about trust, instinct, and the remarkable bond between dogs and humans.